turned out, right above you. Your halo's missing, Julie. And it's the day we do the evaluation, too.
All right, it is now 7 o'clock, and I would like to call to order the June 15th, 2016 meeting of the Novi Library Board of Trustees. Trustee Verma, would you please do the roll call?
Thank you, Chair. Melissa Agosta,
Here.
Trustee William Lawler,
Here.
Trustee Greg Mazurnek,
Here?
Trustee Tara Mishner,
Here.
Trustee Doreen Popa,
Here,
Trustee Geoffrey Wood,
Here.
Trustee Ramesh Verma here, Student Representative Ruchira Reddy Curry,
Here.
Student Representative Cindy Hahn.
Here.
Very good, thank you. Would you all please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, if we would all take a look at the agenda for this evening. Does anyone wish to comment on or modify the agenda?
I have one under 11, Treasurer's Report. Line B and D should say effective May 31st, 2016, not April 30th.
All right, that would make sense.
Yeah, I already gave that report.
The other thing I noticed, the students are going to do a presentation. Are they also going to still do their report that's listed on the site? Okay.
I had some minor editing on the goal-setting minutes. It's quite minor on page 16 under the consent agenda.
All right, we'll get to that in just a second. If there's no other questions or comments on the agenda, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Very good. All right, moving along now to the consent agenda. There are three parts: the approval of claims and warrants for L543, the approval of the May 18th regular meeting minutes, and approval of the meeting minutes from our June 1st goal-setting meeting. Trustee Picard, do you have comments on one or more of those?
I just have a comment on page 16. It's quite minor. Goal number 3, it should be provide, not providing quality.
Thank you. I'm just looking quickly. That does reflect that actually in what you will approve this evening. It does say.
One of the concerns I had that page 54 had a few things different than the minutes showed. For example, goal 3 and goal 1 were different in the two on page 54.
I went from the exact notes from what we spelled out. So I know she was listening. Maybe there was an issue.
Well, for example, number 3, it says provide quality and diverse services, materials, programs, and technology in our minutes. On page 54, it reads provide quality services, material, programs, technology, and cultural learning with an emphasis on diverse populations, which is quite different than what we have in the minutes. What we have in the minutes reflect my notes.
Your notes. So then we'll make a change before we actually approve the goals then this evening.
And there's
Okay.
goal number, but on page 16, when we're talking about the minutes, everything is according to what I had in my notes,
Okay.
with that one exception of the verb being provide rather than providing.
Okay, very good.
And if I understand that right, then what you're saying is the goals as written on page 16 reflect what we had finalized?
According to my notes, that's about all I can say.
Anyone else have comment or input on which version was which?
Well, what we can do is we can wait until the actual, this comes up, and we can have discussion, make changes.
Okay,
So
that
that they
makes
do
sense.
approve.
That would be,
All right.
thank you, sounds good to me.
Any other comments or questions on either, any of the 3 points in the consent agenda? If not, other than the change from providing to provide, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Very good, thank you. All right, correspondence.
We have none this evening.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
We do, I believe, have a presentation.
We do. So I'd like to welcome Cindy and Ruchira, our 2 student reps, to go up to the podium. They have a presentation for you this evening about their year as student reps for you as library board members. So they're going to present to you. We do this annually, so you get a little bit of a recapturing of the different projects and events that these 2 young ladies have helped spearhead over the year with the Teen Advisory Board.
Goes back there.
Yes, so it's,
And that's a turnaround.
it might be on your screens in front of you too, if that makes it easier.
No?
No, if it's not, okay, then you might have to, okay.
Here, I'll look on yours.
Hi, I'm Cindy, and this is Ruchira, and this year we served as the student reps on the library board, and today we have the year-end reflection presentation to show you. And first, we'd like to begin with what were the goals of this past year. Our first was to increase gender diversity in the Teen Advisory Board, also to increase the number of service projects that we complete as a group each year, and also to facilitate better communication between the library and the Novi High School, as well as defining better officer roles so that the meetings are ran more efficiently.
We achieved most of our goals. In gender diversity, our meetings now consist of 5 to 6 male members. We completed 2 service projects this year. In the fall, hospital card making, and in the spring, the toiletry drive. We also fostered good relations with the Novi High School because we worked with National Honor Society for the toiletry drive. And we established TAB bylaws and created officer descriptions.
So about the Teen Advisory Board this year, we defined more distinct officer roles, and this led to our meetings being more organized and the introduction of meeting agendas. As the Vice President of TAB, I was given the responsibility of creating the agendas this year. Membership also increased from 15 to around 20 to 25 at each meeting, and there's also better satisfaction with how the meetings ran with food and drinks at each meeting. And the teen stop room was improved with some of the art that TAB members made at meetings. And throughout the year, multiple guest speakers came to speak at TAB meetings to share their valuable information with the members.
We did 2 service projects. In the fall, we had hospital card making, and TAB made cards for patients at Providence Hospital. Over 30 cards were delivered. In the spring, we had a donation drive, and toiletry items were connected and sent to the Church of the Holy Family, and below is a picture of TAB sorting the items.
In terms of officers, this school year ending means that we have our 2 seniors graduating, which would be our activities director and our president, Young and Yuna. So at the May meeting, we had our officer elections, and the new officers for the new coming year, I will be the president. Sarah, who was the secretary this past year, will become vice president. Ruchira is the new secretary. The activities director is Madison, and Roshni will be the new historian for the coming year.
So the Teen Book Club was created this year about receiving $1,000 grant from the Community Financials. The participants are reading I'll Give You the Sun by John D. Nelson, and the grant money allowed for the first few members to receive their own copy.
A little bit about the book. This book is about twins Jude and Noah, and they struggle to reconnect after their mother's death. But throughout the novel, they learn to rekindle their love and communication for one another. And this picture below is the first meeting, members of the first meeting, and at that meeting they made Sharpie plates.
This year, the average number of monthly attendees in the teen space was between 530 and 550, so approximately the same as last year. And the teen space is open Monday to Fridays from 2 to 5. Students have the opportunity to receive help from free tutors from Cobussy on Monday of the week, and the room has many tables for students to work as well as play games.
So programs and activities, this year we offered, as usual, a variety of programs ranging from more academic-based to more fun ones. Some of the more academics ones were college essays prep and also financial aid advice. And then the more fun ones included pizza tasting as well as a chocolate eating day for Valentine's Day. And the library hosts about 2 teen programs monthly, and these programs are crucial to exposing students to new experiences and possible interests in the library.
So these are just a few pictures related to teen programs. The first one is the Pizza Taste Fest. The second one is the Community Financial Grant that the Teen Book Club received. And the third one is the teen signed anti-bully pledges that are posted on the wall in the teen stop. And the fourth one is a picture of Community Financial speaking on how to save money.
So finally, we'd like to end with what our upcoming goals for the new school year would be. Again, we would like to increase the gender diversity. It's great that there's about 5 to 6 male students at each meeting. However, there's still a lot more girls compared to guys, and we'd like to even that out a bit more and perhaps encourage more guys to maybe have the motivation to become an officer eventually. And we'd also encourage active participation for all members. Some of the meetings, some members tend to be more quiet, and we hope that through more icebreakers that more people would be willing to speak. We'd also like to increase the involvement of the Teen Advisory Board within the Novi Library. With our service projects, we're helping more of the community, but we would also like to help in different areas of the library itself. And also, we'd like to continue with our 2 large service projects in the fall and in the spring, and promote more members to volunteer at the library through Sign Up Genius. And that concludes our presentation. Are there any questions?
I have several. First of all, congratulations on being selected as the president.
Thank you, Secretary.
Secondly, I think you strike an excellent balance between fun and business. You mentioned that at one point. And there's a time to have pizza and chocolate and such, but you also do a lot of very worthwhile things. The next comment is, you guys will be amazed if you don't know already how much being in a leadership position like this will serve you well in your future endeavors.
Amen.
Whether it's college or your jobs or your families or whatever it is. The next observation was your goals. I really commend you for selecting difficult goals. Those were not superficial. They obviously took some effort to come up with, and they took some effort to achieve, and in particular, the hospital one. My wife works at a hospital, and the people, the patients there, particularly the elderly ones, really appreciate those kind of things that you guys are doing for them. So, congratulations on a great year.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I certainly echo everything Trustee Lawler said. The goals are great, all the work that you've done, but I would especially echo the comment about the fact that what you've done this past year is really good as you move forward, and you'll draw on that experience maybe even more than you already realize. It's great to see the involvement. I would ask a question, and that is, are there things or is there anything that either the staff or the board that you would like to either tell us or ask us as far as how we could support additionally or anything in general that you would want to bring to the board or the staff?
Next question.
And you don't have to feel pressure to answer
Yeah,
that right
no,
on the spot. Maybe we could even like send you bios or something so you can kind of know where the experience lies, and if something stands out, you can say, oh, Melissa, highlight that type of thing. So there's no pressure, but
Yeah, we just, we want to make sure that if there are things we can do to enhance what is already a very successful program, that we're all aware of what those things are. So if you don't think of them immediately, but you do down the road, please let us know. We'd like to continue to support it as much as we can.
Thank you.
Much of what I wanted to say has been said already, to congratulate you, and I think the suggestions of how we might be helpful in some way, or how you could feel our support, made more concrete for us to know how we could support you, certainly would be well received. I have a question on your goal, increasing gender when all your officers are women. And wondering what you're thinking about how you might go about that. What are some of your thoughts? Because that seems to be consistent from last year and now once again this year.
I think how the teen advisory board meetings are set up, that all the officers are at one table and then everyone else are separated in different tables, that might seem a little bit intimidating. I would like to have in the new year an officer sitting at each table separately so that it's not as overwhelming and maybe people are less intimidated to share their opinions. But definitely I think through icebreakers and personally making a connection with more of the male members to see if they have input to share, because I'm sure they have valuable things to say, but it may seem a bit intimidating because all the officers are girls right now.
It sounds as though you really looked into it and are thinking it through. Are you thinking of activity? I can't imagine many of the young men getting excited about making cards, for example, for a hospital, and just wonder if you're thinking of different activities that might be more gender neutral or gender inviting.
We're always open to suggestions, so we want to find out from like everyone in TAB what they want, and so we can do that. So it doesn't depend if you're like female or male. If they have a certain idea, we're like willing to like, go forth with that.
Good work, good work.
I'd recommend serving pizza.
Just
Attracts a lot of guys. Just saying.
Pizza taste off went over.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Excellent.
telling me about the book.
Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies.
Well done.
Thank you, ladies.
We have reached the first of two opportunities for public comment. In order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers respect the 5-minute time limit. This is not a question and answer session. Therefore, the library board members will not respond to questions. It is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees. Seeing no one rushing to the podium, we'll move on to the student representative report.
On May 7th, the library hosted the comic book magnets program, where participants made magnets by cutting up their favorite comic book pictures. Club Z of Novi came to teach basics of programming to teens at the Introduction to Robotics program on May 22nd. And in the month of May, the Teen Space had a total attendance of 447 attendees.
The last TAB meeting took place on May 20th, and the meeting began with an ice cream social. Following, the new officers were announced, which they were pictures of in the PowerPoint. And after that, TAB helped sort the donations collected for the It's a Small Thing drive into paper bags. There were over 15 bags, and these donations were delivered to the Holy Family Church. We look forward to working together and making 2016 to 2017 the best year yet.
And for upcoming programs, the summer reading program Teen Volunteer Orientation is June 6th or 7th. Volunteers cannot attend either days. And the launch of the Teen Summer Reading Program will be June 20th. Tie-Dye Day is June 22nd, and Bubble Soccer is June 29th. And on the back, the first photo is a picture of TAB members sorting out the donations at the last meeting, and then at the bottom, it's a picture of tweens cutting out comic book pictures for their magnets.
Where's the bubble stuff?
So it is, it's pretty cool. It is large soccer balls that are probably 4 foot by 4 foot, and they're blown up, but they have a center where the actual person goes in the middle, and so you're inside the ball playing soccer. Yes, so we're using First Park. We talked with the city, and we're coordinating the space, and so they get to play outside, and they're in these really large balls, so it's pretty cool.
Where do we find out more about that?
On our website.
That might be a great way to get us all involved.
Right.
Well, that's something that should attract a lot of guys.
Absolutely, yeah, should be.
That sounds like fun.
I have a question. What type of responsibilities do the teen volunteers do for the summer reading program?
Those teen volunteers, they sit at the computers and they log the minutes and hours that people who come in and they want to participate in the program, and then they get prizes based on how much they read.
Okay, thank you.
This year, we're doing a raffle system, so your name gets put in for, when you complete certain parts of the program, your name gets put in for raffles, instead of giving out tiny little prizes that we found sometimes the kids weren't that interested in, and we thought this would beef it up a little better this year.
Great.
So what's the prize of the raffle?
There's a number of them, so there's like gift cards and things like that the staff has received from different businesses, and we had a little bit of budget money also that we put towards some of that as well. And just to share with you, the teens, I had a meeting today with my managers, and I know that we have close to 200 teens volunteering this summer, which is our largest ever. The Sign Up Genius, which I know Lindsay, our teen librarian, had started this year, is making registration for volunteering so much easier, and it really works for the kids. The kids are used to doing and using Sign Up Genius, for different volunteer opportunities throughout the city. So we got on board, and it's much easier for them. It's easier for us to track. But this way, some kids are very busy and can only give a couple hours here or there through the summer, and this allows for that. Instead of committing every week or the same day of the week, we used to be that regimented, and now we're much more flexible. We've been able to do that with some of the software and the way that Lindsay is designing things this year. So there's a lot of, the summer is our busiest time and our most exciting time, because we really do some great and fun and out of the box type programming, because the weather obviously is a nice part of that. And if we can get outside and do things like tie-dye, which Cindy mentioned, and like the bubble soccer, it's pretty exciting for the kids. We also tie into Wonderful Wednesdays, which we're partners with the city of Novi, and we will have a program at 10:30 every Wednesday, which is in First Park. And that normally is a musician or a magician, different entertainment like that attracts close to 300-400 children and adults that will meet in the morning, and then we see all of those children and adults come over to the library following then to sign up or continue reading with the library, so it's a great fit. And one more plug is that the program is not just for kids. Yes, we have I need you to read to me, I read on my own, I'm a teenager reading, but we have a program for adults as well, and we give prizes for adults too when they read their books and they finish the program. So it is a program for everyone.
Great.
I have a quick question. So the Wonderful Wednesday, is that basically Sizzling Summer?
That is the Sizzling Summer Series. Yep, we call it Wonderful Wednesdays.
Who is in charge in the library side? Margie used to do this. Now, who is the person from the library side?
Christina Salvatore is is our point person for that program.
Thank you.
Yes.
Moving on to point number 9. Julie, the Teen Space End of Year Report.
Yes, so page 19 and page 20, this was our first year having building a monitor for our teen space. And so I had asked Yolanda Hockaday Dennis, who was our monitor this year, to provide some feedback and her overall view of how teen space ran for the year, so I wanted to provide that to you. This is also something I'm using to provide to our partners that, help support this with us, with the library and 3 other partners, Youth Assistance, the City of Novi's Parks and Rec Department, and the school district. We were able to fund this position, and Yolanda is paid through the library, but all 4 partners contribute for her salary. So this has, been a great effort for us to have this program, as you can see, and this is only as May 31st. We have 2 more weeks that the numbers are going up, because I get those daily, but we had 5,468 students that came through Teen Space this year, just for the school year.
Is that individual students?
Yes, it is.
So 5 different students, so it's
Oh,
not.
well, I mean,
That's why I'm-
they can come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we count them, so it's visits.
So visits is
Yes,
more appropriate.
5,468 visits.
Is there any data that actually tallies how many individual students that participate?
We don't because we don't keep any personal information on the kids, just because of privacy. But they have to show an ID to prove that they are a high school student in order to get in the room. But we haven't taken any more specific information.
So we probably get some idea.
There is
Just
repeats.
if you look at how many days divided by this number, we get an idea of how many each day show.
Right, we average about 40 students a day.
Okay.
But that could be the same 40, not always. They really do change in and out, and depending on the sports schedules, that really dictates who might be using Teen Space. We find that there's a different usage in the spring because track is going on, and those kids are after school and tend to go to their sports and not necessarily hang out at the library. So it is another different group of kids, but they come and go. They range for the most part, 9th and 10th grade, some 11th, but not much. Once they get their driver's license and stuff, they usually, can be on their own and tend not to hang at the library as much as someone who might be waiting for a ride or meeting up, or waiting for a sport.
How's the wear and tear in that section of the library?
Actually, the room does very well. The ping pong table is what gets the most wear and tear. We've had that repaired a couple times, and through our wonderful partners, we've had ping pong paddles replaced and new ping pong balls replaced and things. But carpeting wise and stuff, not too bad. They use the cafe, which is great for that opportunity. But I think what's nice about having a monitor in the room is there is someone there, to make sure that behaviors stay, at a decent level and respectful of the space. We have rules that have been posted, and, we expect the kids to clean up after themselves when they're eating in there, which they can. So it's been very positive. I can tell you, this is the first year that I did not have to expel someone from the building for behaviors, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
I think that the message is trickling down from older kids to the younger kids as they come through. Always our freshmen, we have to do some training because they're new, they've been too far, being in the middle school, which is down closer to 11 Mile, in Wixom. They're not necessarily coming right after school. But so that usually the first month of September, that's when we do a lot of training and we share our expectations for the teen space. But then after that, the kids really do appreciate it. Yolanda made a lot of wonderful relationships with the students, and that's a big part of her job, is to not be someone who's stern and that type of person. We want her to make friendships and get to know the kids because we do want them to enjoy the space. We created it for them based on strategic planning a number of years ago, and what they asked for was they wanted space to hang out and socialize. And so we have given that to them, and I think they've done a great job, the kids, utilizing the space in a very respectful way.
Good.
One question, Julie.
Sure.
Is there an opportunity with this to try to attract students who may need more educational needs, or maybe a struggling student to come here and interact?
Yes, and actually, on Mondays, Club Z is a tutoring, they're an actual tutoring service, so normally they charge, but they have been offering free tutoring through Teen Space for the last year, and they will come on next year as well. So they provide that as an opportunity if someone is struggling or has a question. We have tutors that are available. We've also, in the past, have made relationships with the National Honor Society. They didn't come over as much this year, but we've had students from NHS come over and say, I am really good in math, and I'll sit down and I can help you out. And that went on for a few months as well. So there are opportunities. I do think, though, when the kids come out of school, they need a break. And the Teen Space is their break. They tend to come over and relax and unwind after being in school for close to 6-7 hours, and they've been so intense. And that's why the Teen Space has become a great opportunity for them. So they do study. There are some. I don't know if they necessarily want it, though. We really do listen to them, and we've not had that much of a request for it.
Okay.
But we do make it available on Mondays just in case, with the relationship we have with Club Z. Yep.
Relative to the 5 recommendations that were made, I agree that if it was properly secured, the master key is probably a real good idea.
We already did it, so,
Good.
yes.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And the budget. She asks for a fairly modest food
Correct.
budget, and I don't know if we could find something like that, or you can find it otherwise.
We
but that
actually
seems
worked
appropriate.
through it, and through our programming budget, we have been able to do that. And she's reimbursed for things that she might pick up and then provide. Yes,
That seems to have been a really good relationship.
yeah, it has. And I'm hoping that she returns next year. I feel confident she will, but you know, you always get the first year and you're never sure, but she did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
The kids really enjoyed her.
Great.
I really would like to commend you for literally going off what's typical of public libraries in establishing this space and this program. Are there any other libraries that you know in Michigan or nearby
We,
that are now doing this also?
we were not the first. In fact, I had two librarians who are no longer with us, but I had two librarians that brought this to my attention and went and looked at the library that was providing it at the time, and looked how they set it up. I think we have really developed it here at Novi, because I'm happy to tell you that Tia Marie has given a library professional workshop on working with teens and libraries because of it and her dealings with it. And we've had a number of tours of our teen space from other interested libraries that would like to do the same. In fact, I just had another call, and it's not a library, but it's a city and a rec department that wants to do something similar. So the word's out, which is great, and we've been able to help them, you know, try to put similar programs together.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's, unfortunately, they're not on our staff anymore, but the two women that brought this, you know, were definitely really forward-thinking and made great connections with our teens. And now the new people that are in those positions are still doing the same. Lindsay is fantastic, you know, with connecting with our teens, and so is April Stevenson, our head of the department. So it's definitely something that we put a lot of time and effort into to make it positive for the kids.
There are no courses at library schools, I'm sure.
There are not.
to go this
Yes.
way.
We've learned a lot on the fly, let me tell you, but it's been exciting.
All right, moving on to the goals update. Julie, if you'd like to
Sure.
walk us through what's
I know
new.
that we have a pretty lengthy with our presentation and stuff tonight. So I'm happy just to answer questions if anybody has any in regard to some of the added information that you see in the red. This, of course, is not the final because we still have June that we're finishing out, but we're getting there. And this is fairly close to a complete document, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm not talking, go ahead, Carl. I didn't see you.
I was just gonna ask, I know that me and you briefly talked about the social justice event.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about it at the?
Yes, would you refer to the page just so others
Yes,
can?
32.
Wonderful, okay. So, the social justice, we were hoping to host it, but unfortunately, we are so busy with our meeting rooms that we did not have a space available. But I have a number of staff that have taken part in the social justice training through the school district. And then when they have programs or events, we try to send staff, you know, to show our support. And wonderful event. What I'm hoping will come out of it, and I've heard some planning, is a diversity day that might be planned this fall, where the library will take on the planning and get other community members involved in having something at the library because of that. And that came out of the session that was held in May. It was a wonderful opportunity to connect specifically. The group is PAASN, which is our Parents of African American Students of Novi. But it's not just African Americans, which they say, you know, in the meeting. They welcome everyone, and they want everyone to have an opportunity if they need help or assistance or, you know, information. They want to be that go-to, and they really have. So it was a great conversation that talks about, you know, the different diversity that's come to Novi over the last few years that they've noticed, and the increase in diversity that's happened, and it really, we've exploded with it, which is fantastic. And how the school district and then other partners in the community, how we can help continue to foster it and move it forward in a very positive way. And it's a wonderful group, and we love to be part of it. So whenever we can partner or promote their meetings in the community, we try to.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was going to commend you on the fact that there were some goals you didn't work on this year.
Yeah, there are, and I knew that I think we talked a little bit about it last month, and
Which was great.
that we can't get to everything sometimes, or we realize it doesn't fit. And so that's why as we get closer to the end, we make sure that you at least get documentation to know what's going on.
Any other questions or comments on particularly on the red verbiage in the goals update? Okay. In that case, we will move on to the treasurer's report. Trustee Augusta.
Thank you. Recap Fund 268, the approved budget for Fund 268, which is our operating budget for the current fiscal 2015 year ending June 30th, is on pages 40 through 42. It shows $2,673,181 of revenue and expenditures of $3,092,245, consuming $419,064 of our fund balance for the fiscal year. Fiscal year 2016-17 calls for revenue of $2,774,726 and expenditures of $3,018,400. Fund balance usage of $234,674. This is an expected increase of revenue of $101,545 and expected decrease in expenditures of $73,845. The revenue and expenditure report for the fiscal year Fund 268 is next on page 45. Summary of year-to-date revenues through May is $2,781,251, and that has increased by $27,125. The expenditures show an increase in April of $185,419. Our expenditures for the first 11 months of the year are $2,471,385, which is about 80% of what we have budgeted for. And being that we are through over 90% of our fiscal year, our overall position of expenditures is very good. We currently have a positive net of revenue and expenditures for Fund 268 of $309,866. Bearing any unforeseen expenditures, we are on track to use very little of our fund balance this year.
I just want to scream when I hear that.
Excellent news.
I wanted to say that very clearly. Fund 269, we did have no significant activity. We did purchase the 3D printer. For the balance sheet for Fund 268, shows our fund balance at the end of May of, oh my goodness, I have a typo here. Help me out, where am I at? Is it $2,029,289? I put a period instead of a comma, so I'll rephrase. Our fund balance at the end of May is $2,029,289 for Fund 268, and for Fund Balance 269, end of May is $1,663,942. And that is my report.
Excellent, thank you. It will be interesting, as I think most everyone knows, even though next month is the end of the fiscal year, we will continue to have expenditures rolling in for 3 months
Yeah.
more.
I believe the closing this year is like the second week of August.
Okay.
So, invoices and stuff still can come in and still be charged to the 15, 16 year because it's work or we're waiting on, you know, invoices to follow the information or the services or something that's already in the building. So, final books don't get closed. We have to have everything in by the middle of August. The actual books don't close until October. That's when they do the audit. So we really won't have final numbers until about that time, just to give you a time frame. We pretty much know by August where things are, but we don't put out our annual report until typically October because we want to make sure just with the audit that everything is clear.
Yeah, with net of revenue of over 300,000 and a month to go, it's a position we didn't even dream of in 2013.
I know it.
So,
Yes.
well done, well done.
There's still a lot of invoices out there, though.
Yeah, I know, we got surprised last year how much it grew from
Correct.
June
right.
to August, but,
And nothing from the parking entrance yet,
right.
you know, has hit, because the work will start.
In any case, we will obviously use less fund balance than we thought by
Yes,
quite
we
a
will,
bit.
absolutely.
Great. All right. Number 12 is the director's report.
Yes, so a couple things that I'll highlight for you. Some information about the forestry walkthrough. I had an opportunity to walk with some of the city staff from the forestry and landscaping department. We have lost, unfortunately, due to weather and also, yes, from salt erosion. We've lost a number of bushes on the property, especially located near the parking area. And so I did a walkthrough. I actually received a very detailed list of what we have and what they're recommending for replacement. You've probably, if you've been to the building in the last couple weeks, you've noticed we have pulled out some of the bushes already that when I did the walkthrough, they said they won't make it, these are bad, go ahead and do it. So we did. Those were some unexpected costs that we weren't planning for this spring, but it did need to be cleaned up. With the project for the main entrance, I have a company coming out because I wanted to save, if I could, the daylilies and some of the grasses that are up towards the entry exit way. Those are going to be removed and replaced in other areas of the landscaping so we can save them. Hopefully they'll do well. The roses are what I really worry about because they can be very testy when it comes to changing them. They don't like change. So, but the lilies and things should be fine. So those are also being removed so that we can save them and then relocated. Have a good plan. I'm happy to tell you that, we have a great tree planting plan with the city, and there were a few trees that were identified that the city will help with that comes under their annual replacement. I'll be able to let you know what those are as soon as we determine that, and then we'll get on a schedule with the city in order to have some of those done. And then some things they'll recommend that we can put in that they think might be hardier than what was originally put in and didn't make it due to some of the weather and the salt.
Did they indicate if our ability or lack of ability to water properly was an issue at all?
No, they really thought it was the salt in winter. Okay. Yeah, and the one gentleman said, I'm even surprised that kind of planting was put in, but, we had landscape designers and we had people, they're not the same people that are with the city now that looked over those designs and said, looks good. I mean, I think sometimes, and you might even have some bad plants, but 6 years out, you have no warranty at that point for some of them. But they really did think, I think, the salt was a bigger issue.
Trustee Verma?
When you're saying that you are relocating some of the plants
Yes.
where the construction will be going, why they were not put it in the blueprints by the architect who designed it?
It's not their job to do that. They're not doing that's not part of.
No. They're existing there on the site. Their existing pole there, they are saying relocate the pole. Why they are not relocating the plants?
It wasn't part of their design. It wasn't part of their submission.
It is not now, but the point is they see there why it was not pointed out to them that this should be relocated.
Actually, we didn't know we were gonna lose that many until a couple weeks ago when we had our final pre-construction meeting. So that's why we're actually doing this last minute, because we didn't realize we were going to lose
That's
them.
surprising. The guy goes there, he's designing it, and he sees this is the plant to be relocated.
Right.
He didn't do the job.
No, that information was not received.
Are we choosing to relocate them? Because they would just bulldoze it over.
Yeah, we are.
So
Yeah,
we're
they
ch-
would-
we're
they would get
choosing
rid
to
of 'em.
We're choosing to relocate them, or they would just bulldoze it over.
Right, we don't wanna lose them.
So we're choosing to keep them, is what we're doing.
Yeah, the point I'm saying, now we are paying with the money, somebody will be working on that. It should be part of the plan, that blueprint. That's what I'm saying.
No, your point is well taken. Absolutely. Yes.
I continue to see you have this narrow little band of dirt between asphalt that's, gets salted in the winter and fries in the summer. And the roots have really no place to go except underneath. I just wonder what kind of plants can survive that kind of extreme
Yeah.
planting.
And that's why I'm gonna look to them to give me some recommendations. I think they even said more like,
Grasses probably.
grasses and those green leafed,
Hostas?
thank you, the hosta families, like,
The sun. They can't
some of
take
that.
too much sun.
so,
It-
yeah. They
it's-
do get watered. There is watering through there. Everything is, pretty well watered, but it's just, and it also, not only is it salt, but it's traffic on them too. We have paths, but not everybody follows the path, so.
Yeah, it's a difficult environment to grow things
It
in.
is. It should have, honestly, we probably didn't need it, but, oh, well.
I'm sure it looked nice on the drawings.
Well, thank you for not putting in artificial.
Oh, yes, you're welcome. Cafe update, I just wanted to put in some information for you. As you can see, I did follow up from a month ago with Mr. Bernstein about some of his hours did not equal what was in the lease, so he received a letter. I can tell you that he has been keeping to the time. It was May 27th that we did have an issue where he called in and wasn't able to open, which I documented for all of you, but we have been receiving his payments on time, and we've had no issues.
Good.
You, on page 53, see some information that has gone out for almost 2 weeks now about the construction. We're trying to get this out to everyone ahead of time, knowing that patrons visit, if they're on the book schedule, every 3 weeks they would be coming in to return materials, and usually weekly with DVDs. So we've been making sure that they have this information in their books when they check out. Website, e-newsletter, even the city's information is carrying this as well. Facebook, I know we did some posting of that, received a very positive comment from a patron who said, "It's about time, I'm so glad to see this project being done." So we know that the word is getting out there. Any questions that come up, our staff is able to handle in terms of dates and things. I did just find out today through email that it won't actually get started until the 27th. They were out today staking and putting some stakes up, but there was a scheduling conflict with the construction company. So 27th is when they'll get underway, but they have promised to stay close to the July 15th date for the project to be completed. That has not changed yet.
Two-part question. Have you seen the signage that they're going to put up?
I have not. I have inquired about it, but I've not seen it.
I would ask that you look at it, and then my second part of my question is, since they're not starting on June 20th, do you know when that signage will go up?
My guess is the signage will go up next week, mid-next week. And the signage is put up by the construction company. I can also tell you that they plan, based on the pre-construction meeting, they plan to have an attendant out there as well, directing traffic and letting people know. So there'll be physically someone out there too, letting people know that that's only an exit and this is an entrance.
All day, every day?
That's what I'm hearing. I mean, during construction time, yes. So, which will help. I also found out, just so you're aware, that the school is planning a small project on Wildcat, just following our project. So we we won't have Wildcat entrance open for a time period. I have not received their dates yet, but that could stay closed. But we will be back to in and out at least on 10 Mile.
Let's hope the weather helps.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you've done a good job with all the various forms of communication to people, but people read, people don't remember.
Right.
I know when they're driving down 10 Mile, the sign is going to be really, really important, so.
And I will double check. In fact, I'll call tomorrow and find out if they have a time frame that
Yeah,
I can let
I
you
would
know.
I would ask that you look at what the signage is, and then also where they're going to put it and when they're going to put it.
Okay,
And what color?
And what color, sure.
very good. Okay, moving along, on page 54, we'll go over the goals during matter board action. Information about information technology. As you can see, this report is from Barb Rakowski. You had asked a couple months back, and I believe it was you, Trustee Lawler, about some of the money coming back for certain things that we've sold off that are older pieces of equipment. So on page 56, I provided that information to you so that you could see some of the revenue that came back after some of the equipment that we were able to sell from the library that we no longer needed or was out of life for us. Page 57 is the facilities update by Keith Perfect. So you can see how busy they are as well. And then pages 59 through 61 is the information services report from April Stevenson. I do not have a support services report this month. Oh, yes, I do. I'm sorry. Page 61 is Mary Ann Zermulin. I apologize. And that's from support services. And then we go into our statistics. I'm always interested in the self-check total, which always tends to stay about 54%. With our customer service goal this year, I've just had some meetings, and we have pushed forward a goal to continue with trying to bring that number up more. That will entail us doing some reach out with the patrons physically in the building, inviting them to use the equipment and stuff, and so we will be planning to do that this year. Our goal is to see that at 60%, the usage of self-check. And then we continue with other statistics, which goes through page 71. Are there any questions that I can answer in regard to that?
A general question.
Sure.
I know we talked about, the goals, and there were too many, and it was confusing, and, this is a lot of information of Barb, documenting, and Keith, and how much time does that take?
I think they keep record of it as they're doing
Okay.
it. So it's not like they're sitting, they're very good about, and a lot of it is done for them. So help tickets, that's something that's tracked.
Okay.
So they're just taking that number and then giving it to you.
Okay.
A lot of it can be done that way electronically with what they do.
Okay.
But they have certain checklists and stuff that they follow so that they can show what's been done and what's been accomplished.
Okay. Thank you.
How are these used for staff goals during the year?
They're very much part of their staff goals. Yeah. A lot of it is linked to personal employee goals. Yes.
Was there a Friends report?
There was not a Friends report. I did not receive one. I will actually check on that. And then we go into our historical commission. The one thing that I wanted to just point out to you here is that the city was working on a very big project. It's an accreditation, actually, through Parks and Rec. And a component of that was to have some information from the Novi Historical Commission for them to create a resource management plan, which they did. So I wanted to provide to you tonight the resource management plan that was approved through Historical Commission, information and guidelines and pretty much how they're set up and what they do and some of their tasks and projects that they like to work on. I think this gives you a very good overview of what historical commission is. I don't think people realize all that's entailed. So this document actually is being submitted with the accreditation that the Parks and Rec Department needs. They'll find out in the fall whether they make their accreditation or not. But this is a document that's part of it. It's been approved.
I would really like to commend Jeff Muck,
Yes.
who I believe, coming in a year or so ago, has really stepped up the professionalism and the quality of services provided, from older adults to Parks and Rec, to the ice arena, to now to the Historical Commission, that he really is bringing together the various components within this department, and I think raising the professional bar.
He also has a great staff to work with, because we cross paths with him and a number of his staff through the year with different projects and different partnerships, and it's always
But
very
he's always
positive.
open for the
Yes.
partnership, and I really would like to commend that from the library's point of view.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think we are ready for committee reports. It doesn't look like we have too much at this point in time.
There is not, except for the fact that we do have a bylaw committee meeting
Right.
that will take place on Wednesday, June 29th at 7 o'clock. So they are scheduled. That group is moving forward with me. And I will start to get, our policy committee will get started very soon. HR, we won't need right away. Let's see, events, I think we're good. Strategic planning will probably get started August, September for that. And building and landscaping, I need to follow up. I have some information from the lighting nonprofit that we were looking at, so we will be meeting about that soon. Yep.
All right. We have reached the second opportunity for public comment. In order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers respect the 5-minute time limit. This is not a question and answer session. Therefore, library board members will not respond to questions. It is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees. Seeing no one coming forward, we will move on to point 15, which are matters for board action. The first one, I think we need a little explanation and
Sure.
discussion, Julie.
So I received an email from Jessica Dory. She works in the finance department. And her concern and her need was to show that we were actually approving the transfer of some of the library funds over to the city so that they could make payments for some invoices that will start coming in relation to the parking project, the parking lot project.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, when you said transfer of funds, are you talking about transfer of budgeted amounts?
Correct, yes. So it's in our 268 going over to their general fund in order for those invoices to be paid in the future. We approved 4,500 at the last meeting, and we had budgeted an amount of 35,500 from the beginning. So we're looking at 40,000. She sent me, I want to let you know that what I did is I took exactly her email of how she sees transferring the money from the accounts over to their general accounts, because I wanted it to be on record and approved that way. If you look at our budget, the money is all lump summed into the 976 account.
Right.
And so it's not the right account from us. She's using the grounds maintenance account. So we might show an overage in those accounts if they go ahead and do that. But the money is already there in the 976 account, in the capital improvements. They just haven't used it that way. I would like to approve this evening based on her language so that she doesn't run into any audit issues. This money, we know that it's coming out of capital fund, and regardless if she takes it from 941 or the 976, it's already been budgeted and it's there. I'll have to wait to see how she actually transfers.
It's all coming out of 268.
It
So
is.
It's just a line difference, it's all.
Correct.
So it's already been budgeted in
It has.
268, it just is the lines, we say one and she says the other.
Yes.
Okay.
Is this a common occurrence that they ask us to transfer money like this?
This is the first time, but I believe it's because they're making all the payments and they're really handling the project. We're not. So that is why I believe we're doing this.
So you expect it to be a rare thing related to this
Right.
project?
Only because they're involved with it, and they really are taking on the management of it. I mean, I am not involved except being part of meetings and communicating to you. The DPS staff is really taking on the project, so I don't see any issues with this at all, especially since the money is there. It's just different accounts that are being suggested here based on her email.
Just so you can all see, if you turn to page 45 and you look at the budget for 268, you'll see line 941 has in the budget for 2015-16, $28,600, of which we're already showing being over. So what, if we approve it as written, we're essentially saying we're taking $40,000 out of a $28,600 budget, which is why
Correct.
Julie and I had a discussion earlier. I understand what you're saying, that it's a line item situation. I guess if we approve this, I would ask that you still have some if you show
Oh, I
her our
will.
budget,
Absolutely.
I'd like to not have a negative budgeted amount in our budget.
Yeah.
There's no question that we're going to
Unless
move
we
budget
see,
dollars
they might
over.
move it and then, do you know what I mean, transfer. So yes, I have to find out how they're going to do that. But based on timing, which I just received this information, within the last week or so to make this meeting, they've got a timing issue because it's the end of the year and they need to show this happening for audit to occur and it not be a negative on the audit.
All that said, she has requested, as you see there, the approval as it's worded there.
Yes, and I used her exact wording.
Yes. So we need to vote on this if someone wants to make a motion.
Melanie, go ahead, move it.
What do I say? I've never,
Just
You
move
can
it.
read it just as is.
oh, I read
Yep.
it.
I try to write it that way, so it's.
Approval to transfer $4,500 from 941 grounds maintenance to 961.101 general fund and $35,500 from 941 grounds maintenance to 965.101 general fund for the main entrance construction project.
Support.
Second.
Comments or questions? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It has passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are now,
Mr. Clay, I
Yes.
have one question. Who takes care of our garbage disposal for the library?
Currently, we work with Republic, but with the changes to the city that have just happened recently, we'll be going out to look for a contract. We have a number of people to get bids from before we decide on a company that we will go with. So we will be doing
You
that this
cannot
summer.
go automatically with the city?
No, we have to reach out. But we will. So we will be looking for bids just like they did.
So my school also does separately, library does
The school is
separately,
separate.
city does also.
I'm hoping that we'll get a good price based on what the city has received through the company that they're going to be going with. That's my hope. But I want to be able to see what those opportunities are before making that decision.
So what is your schedule to do that?
I have someone from the facilities department that'll be doing that July 1 because it's going into effect July 1. Yes,
So July 1, your facility department,
yes,
so only 15 days left.
right. They'll
You
start
have
it in
to-
July.
You have to invite the bids.
No, because it's a very low cost. It's not been, anything under 5,000, which it's been way under that. I don't have to do it like that. I only have to solicit quotes. So I will solicit 3 quotes and then make a decision in terms of a contract.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
moving on to point 16, which would be the library director's annual review.
We need B.
Oh, pardon me?
We need a B.
Oh, B,
Gotta be.
I am sorry.
We've
I
got to
skipped
be.
right over that. B is approval of the 16-17 library board goals, which are found on page 54. And based on our earlier discussion, I think we need to have a discussion.
The page 16 and page 54 are not the same. And I just would like us to have the library goals match what's on page 16.
Correct.
Because
then
they are.
You're looking
they're-
for that language then to be
Looking for
approved.
that language on page 16, which we just approved.
It looks like on 54, all they did was remove the two goals from last year and kept the language
Pretty
as it
much.
was from the year
And that was
prior.
my fault.
Yes.
I looked at my notes. I literally looked from the big pages, so
But
I
that's-
just didn't confer with Marcia. She's the better listener and note taker, obviously. So if you'd like to do that, basically what you're doing is taking the language from page 16, I will put that in and approve it from that language.
So, really, I think there's just one that doesn't need change on here, maybe two that don't need change, but numbers 1 and 3 and even 4 has a minor piece to it. So they will then be the goals from page 16. Is that
Correct.
correct?
If that's what's approved.
I found on page 54, the only difference was the one you pointed out earlier, that the word diverse. But otherwise, I thought, according to my notes, everything was perfect, but were they or no?
Not number 1.
No, number one is
Number
different.
1, we cut off and provide ongoing training and development opportunities for staff.
I did have that
needed to
lined
be-
out and I missed it, I'm sorry.
dropped.
Okay.
And also then the semicolon and capital P on provide on number 4. Don't forget on the teacher.
Yes, thank you.
They are correct on page 16
They
now
are.
that we have said
Okay.
provide rather than providing. Melissa, did you see where,
I do, absolutely, yes.
those were, we had the most discussion about those.
Yes, yes, that's where all my lines and stuff.
Yes.
Any other comments or discussion on the goals on page 16, which is what we will apparently be voting on?
So can I move then that the board accept the 2016-2017 goals as worded with corrections on page 16 of our packet?
You may.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions before we vote? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It has been moved and approved.
Thank you.
All right, good catch. I'm glad someone has all that attention to detail.
Goals are important to us.
And they are. There's no doubt about it. Now, moving on to point 16, which is the library director's annual review. I believe you have the option of asking for it to be in closed session?
Yes, and I would like.
And you would like to do that. For us to do that, we need to have a roll call vote to enter into closed session. Trustee Verma, can you do a roll call vote for us?
Sure. Trustee Melissa Augusta,
Yes.
Trustee William Lawler,
Yes?
Trustee Greg Mazenak,
Yes?
Trustee Tara Misner,
Yes.
Trustee Doreen Pauber,
Yes,
Trustee Geoffrey Wood,
Yes.
Trustee Ramesh Verma, yes.
All right, very good. We will move to a closed session.
And then we'll have to come back out in order to close the meeting,
yes.
okay?